All right, everybody, we're going to start building with the Vex kit. So I want to share with you some tips that will help you in your construction. First tip, the drive shaft or axles, whatever you want to call them, same verbiage, must run through bearings for support, one on each end. We don't want metal against metal. These bearings act like the axle bushings that we used in the last kit. So if you look over here at this picture right here, that is a bearing. They're little black pieces of plastic. There's 3 different styles. They have multiple holes in there, and then just right below it you can see that you have the axle or a drive shaft. Either word is interchangeable. The picture right below is an example of a no, what you don't want to do. You don't want to take that metal axle and just run it through the metal plate or the metal channels or any of those structure pieces. No metal on metal. It's a terrible fit. What you want to do is what's over here in this picture. This is the yes. That axle must run through some bearings, and the bearings are supporting it. So you can see I have the black bearings and they're screwed in. And then there's a black bearing on that other side, and the axle is going to run right through. It'll be a nice tight fit, and you hardly have any wiggle, and your gears will fit nice and tight. Another rule, the drive shaft must always have 2 points of contact. The 2 points of contact can be bearings, or you can have a bearing and a motor or 2 motors. So this over here is a no-no. I have my metal shaft right there, and then I have my plastic bearing, but there is no support right here, and there's no support here. So there's going to be a lot of wiggling, and it's not going to allow the mechanisms to work effectively. The picture right over here is a yes. All drive shafts, again, must have 2 points of contact. So there's 1 point of contact here and another point of contact right here. And for this case, I used a bearing here and a bearing over here. You can, like I said, substitute that with a motor. You have a motor running through with a shaft and coming out the other end with a bearing. All right, another rule. Can't demonstrate this one too effectively, so do the best I can. Gears, sprockets, and axles cannot move side to side. They cannot wiggle. The reason why they can't, they won't work effectively. They'll work for a moment and then they'll stop working, or things will start slipping. So if there's any type of wiggling going on, please add more hex screws or more bearings. So just do a wiggle test, which is something I'm going to do if something's not working. I just take it and I shake the axle. If the axle has a lot of give and it wiggles a lot, then I know that it's not tightened enough and it's not supported enough. All right, save yourself some frustration with this next one. I always like to keep at least 3 holes between the axles. This gives me, it makes it easier when I want to change gear ratio. So let's explain that a little better. So do you see I have an axle right here and an axle right here? I didn't put the bearings right next to each other because I'm giving myself room to switch. So if I want to move an axle, I could switch it to another hole. So I like to give myself space in between so it makes it easier when I change out the gears. All right, this one. The washers on the cap nuts must be in contact with metal. They cannot come in contact with the plastic bearings. When they do that, they end up putting pressure on the plastic, and it kind of ends up ruining the plastic, like wearing it down. So the plastic should be flush against the bolt head, not against the caps nuts. So let me explain that a little better. So this picture right here is a nope, and this one is a yes. So this is done. One's done correctly, one is done incorrectly. This is nope, that's done incorrectly. This is the same picture, but another view, so that's nope, and that is yes. So let's elaborate on that. All right, looking at this right over here. In fact, let's switch to purple. Here's my bearing. There is my bolt head, and that is the cap nut. It's going against the plastic. The teeth on that washer are going to grind at the plastic, so that's a no. Again, this is the nope. I have my bolt head right here, and then I have the plastic, and then the cap nut is right over here. that's cap nut against plastic, and that is a nope. We don't want to do that, and this is how it looks in the front. So that's a no. This is yes. You want the bolt head to go against the bearing, the plastic bearing, and then you want the lock washer, which is attached to the cap nut, to go against metal. So it's metal against the metal right there. So this is the view on the front. If you have any questions, call me over. I can elaborate and explain again. All right, so let's take a look at this cap nut a little better. So it's called a cap nut because it's two things at one time. It's a lock washer and a nut all in one attached. So this is considered the nut. This is the lock washer. So it's a washer that is curved. It's got a profile like a cup, and it allows for better gripping. So don't over tighten. So no on the over tightening, because when you do that, it's going to cause the lock washer to go flat. And if it goes flat, then you won't have the grip against the metal and it'll slip. So again, don't over tighten. Tighten it, but not so much as you're going to cause that lock washer to go flat. We want it to be curved like that. Alrighty? And that is the last rule. So have fun building.